Okay, we are now recording our lesson, and we have 2 students joining us through Zoom, so thank you for joining us. The rest of the class is cutting out some pictures that we're going to be talking about for text features. So what that means is it's part of a book that you might see mainly in a nonfiction text, which is what we've been talking about this week. I wonder why penguins can't fly. That was nonfiction, right, class? And a lot of facts in there about animals in the Arctic and Antarctic. Okay? We had all these different parts and boxes and graphics. So we're going to discuss what those parts are and look at them in the book. Okay? The first one is a heading. The heading is the title at the top of a page or section. So like this, lions and tigers. So in the book, we saw a lot of headings. How cold are the poles is a heading. And then it has different headings for each little section that we were reading in the book. Okay? So that's called a heading. When it gives you a smaller heading underneath that, we call that a subheading. Let's see if I can find that. Okay, so that's heading. So on your little pocket that we're cutting out in class, this one right here, it says headings. We have blue whales, giants of the sea is the heading. So what is it telling you? What is the heading going to tell you? Bryson? It's going to tell you, the heading's not going to tell you facts. It's going to tell you what that section is about, right? Okay. So we saw a lot of those in our book. Okay, the next square is font style. That's a text feature. Bold. Y'all know what bold means? Bold means the words are darker than the others. Italics, we've talked about that before. Italics is where the letters look a little slanted. There we go. So here's italics. Notice how it's kind of slanted. Y'all see that? And then underlined obviously means the words are underlined. Okay, so let's see if we can find an example of that in the book we read this week. Okay, I see bolded words right here. What does this look like? No, not what, but what type of font did they use? Bold, italics, or underline?
Underline.
Italics, good. Okay, so this is an example of italics. So why did they italicize that word? What do you think different types of font is going to tell you? Maybe it's more important. Y'all think that? Font styles show you words that are important. Okay? Words that are important. They want them to stand out to you for a reason because they're important. Okay? Photograph. Photograph should be pretty simple. What is a photograph?
It's a picture.
It's an actual picture of something. Like somebody took a photo and it's showing you something. Okay? An illustration.
A writer.
A drawing, good. An illustration shows a drawing or sketch. Okay. Everybody got that? Okay. Oh, and we didn't write over here. A photograph shows, it's actually shows a picture taken with a camera. Okay. So, do y'all know what the difference between these two are? One is hand drawn and one is with a camera. Okay. Let's see. So if you look back in our book, on this page, what do we see here? Do you think that's an actual picture or an illustration?
Illustration.
Illustration, good. Illustrations. I think all of these are drawn. No, none are actual pictures. Okay? Okay, there's the first four. We have 4 more text features that we're going to go over today. We will have more than that, but these are the only ones we're going to talk about today. Okay, a map. What does a map show? Kelsey?
A map shows directions and states.
Okay, good. It's going to show states.
And directions.
Directions. Locations.
Do you have to write this?
Okay. A map shows different locations. Those of you at home, you don't need to be writing this right now. And in class, you can write it because you can have these in your pocket to look back at. Those of you at home, if you're not writing right now, that's okay. You can take notes in your spiral. I'll post this video on Seesaw so you guys can watch it again if you want to. This is just to help us, because when we get ready to do an assignment, we're going to have to match these text features with pictures of them. Okay? Okay. A diagram. All ready? What's a diagram?
A diagram is like one of those things we talked about. A diagram is a thing that shows you the pieces to. Where is it? A diagram is a thing like that points like labels.
Good, yeah, it's going to have labels. Okay, so here's another example of a diagram, a bigger version. It's a picture that has labels to show the parts of something. So this is a diagram of a plant. Okay. So mainly you need to know that a diagram shows parts and has labels telling what each part is. Okay? A diagram shows parts and has labels. Got that? Okay, a chart or a graph. That's pretty self-explanatory. We've seen those in math too. What's a chart or a graph?
A chart is a thing that names something like day, or like how many days, and students and like numbers the thing.
Good, yeah. It compares data and information. It's kind of just an organized way of showing information. We have bar graphs, line plots, circle graphs, all types of graphs. Okay, so a chart or a graph shows data. Okay, so a chart or graph shows data and compares information. We just have one more, a caption. Y'all heard of that before?
Oh yeah, a caption. A caption is like a picture, close up, and like a photo. It's like a photograph, and they like.
It is going to have a photograph, but the caption is actually the little part underneath. What do you see underneath the picture?
Words. Not words, but.
Yes, words. So a caption shows words that explain what the picture is about. Okay, that's a caption. A caption shows words that explain what the picture is about. So, here is an example of caption. Here's a picture of elephants. And then you'll have a small little section underneath a picture telling what it's about. So that's a caption. Okay? Now let's see if we can find some examples in our book. Okay, who can tell me what this is called?
The Statue of Liberty.
Oh no, not the actual, what text feature is this? Is it a map? Is it a diagram? Is it an illustration? A photograph? Illustration, good. Okay. Right here, what is this? What text feature?
That is a diagram.
Diagram? No, it doesn't have labeled parts.
That is a...
So if it's America, it's a what?
Map.
A map. Okay.
That has spots on it, like what says America?
Okay. What would this be?
Word.
But it's right next to a picture, so what is it doing?
Describing the
It's explaining the picture, so what do we call that?
caption. We call it
Caption. Good. Okay. What is this called at the top?
the word. Sentence or heading.
Heading. Good. Look at your notes.
No, we didn't say that.
What type of font is this?
That is a. Oh, that is a head. It's a like. It's italics.
Italics. Good. And those of you at home, if you want to unmute, you can participate too and just call it out. Italics. Good. So italics are words that important, keywords. Okay? Okay. Now, those are all the notes we're going to take, but let's look at a couple more things before you do your seesaw activity. Who can tell me what this is called in the beginning of a book?
Continents. Not continents.
Not continents. You're close.
Content. The table of contents.
Table of contents. Good. Table of contents is at the beginning. Now let's look at the back.
That's an index.
Index. Good. So an index is going to go in ABC order. It's not definitions. All it is key terms. Like, let's say I wanted to find something that talks about grizzly bears. So I need to go over to the G. I see where it says grizzly bears. So then I could go look on page 18, 19, and 31 to see about grizzly bears. That's an index. It's not a glossary where you have definitions. Okay? And this book does not have a glossary, but does anybody know what a glossary is?
A glossary? A glossary is like a...
We have one in our social studies book.
It's like a...
And in our math book.
It's almost like a table of contents, but a glossary, it just shows like what page it is on and what is it.
It does tell you what page, but more important than that. Anybody at home know? Okay. Labels are just going to have where it's pointing to something and telling what it is. The label is actually out to the side telling what it is. Evangeline? Kind of like a diagram. Good. So a map, everybody knows what that is. So just remember, glossary and index are found at the end. Table of contents is found at the beginning. Okay? So that's what you're going to do. You're going to look through books and find these text features that we just talked about. Okay? Any questions before we go on? No? Okay. So real quickly, what I want to do while you're here, Zoom people, before we start our assignment, we're going to go over our vocabulary. Okay? Let me stop this screen and share this one. Okay, compass. What is a compass?
A compass is a thing that shows you direction.
Very good. Compass shows direction. Climate. Anybody know what climate is?
Ooh. Am I the only one?
Somebody besides Kelsey? Nobody knows what climate is.
I know.
Kind of an idea? Anything, Bryson? What do you think?
What's the word?
Climate. Throughout the book, it talked about climate in the Arctic and Antarctic. What do you think that means?
Like water compass?
No. It actually is talking about weather. Weather over a long period of time. So climate, the usual weather conditions in a place. Okay, not just the day-to-day weather, but how it is over a long period of time. Okay, an iceberg. They talked about icebergs in the book, right? What is it, Evangeline?
Like a huge block of water.
A huge block of, not water.
Like a house. It's like a house, but it's actually like full of ice.
Ice, yeah. Icebergs are huge blocks of ice. Right there, okay? Tundra. They talked about the tundra in here. We actually looked at that word being in italics in the book. Tundra is just an ecosystem, okay? One of the huge plains in the Arctic region, a treeless plain. The tundra is known for being very, very cold. Barricade. Barricade is like something that's blocking the way. Okay, so if they put a barricade up, they're blocking you. They're putting up something to block you. from going. Maybe like a barricade on a road to block off a road if they're doing construction. Okay? Pollute. You heard that word before? Raise your hand if you've heard that word before. Okay, what does pollute mean? You've probably heard pollution. And what does that mean? Allie?
Makes dirty.
Kind of. Makes dirty. Leave trash everywhere. To make dirty or harmful to health by mixing in or adding waste material. Permafrost. So how you can remember this is frost. Everybody knows what frost is, right?
Yeah, frost is like ice.
It is like ice. So permafrost is ground that is frozen all year long. Okay? Permafrost. And perma is kind of like permanent. Permanent means forever, right? It's
Yeah,
never going away.
Means stuck forever.
Particles. Particles are tiny amount or small piece. Collide. Bryson and I collide in the hallway. What does that mean?
It means like walk.
What do you think, Evangeline?
Like bump into each other.
Bump into each other. Good.
Oh man.
To strike or bump into one another with force. Atmosphere. Atmosphere
Oh,
is
it's like
the gases surrounding the earth.
Yeah. Igloo is like a thing where people.
Gases
like
surrounding the earth.
Huh? Igloos are kind of like a house that they go.
They talked about it right here.
I can't. That's just
Some particles enter our atmosphere. Okay?
at the atmosphere. It's so
Uh-huh.
cool. I just want to jump in it.
Those are the northern lights, but the atmosphere is the gases around Earth.
Igloo.
Igloo, everybody knows what that is. An Inuit house shaped like a dome made of ice. Translucent. Last one. Letting only some light pass through. So it's not completely see-through, but it's kind of like if you were looking through like a frosted glass window where you can see through it, but you can't see all the way through it. It's not completely clear. Okay? That's what translucent means. Okay, so those are your vocabulary words for this week. So make sure you're studying. We will continue these words next week too. So don't worry, you're not going to have a test over these tomorrow. It won't be until next week, okay? And we're going to talk about this book next week too.